Welcome back to the halftime show brought to you by AT&T. We are currently halfway through the game between the US women's national team and Mexico. The US far superior, remember, when these two met on Thursday. At the halfway point of this game, it is US 4, Mexico 2. Let's take a look at the highlights from the first 45 minutes of play in this one. It has been action-packed, Leslie.
Yes, it has. We talked about U.S. having to start out strong and Megan Rapinoe finding Mallory Pugh running behind. And we talked about Mallory Pugh, how confident she is, taking 1v1, just slots it by Santiago. It's a great way to start off the game.
This began to look a little bit worrying, though, for the U.S., didn't it?
Well, yeah, and I'm not quite sure what Jane Campbell was doing. She was backing up and backtracking into her own goal, and all Outcomp wants to do is slip that in. And again, another in-swinger ball, same thing. No, she was wide open. Palacio just has to get her head on it just a little bit.
Quick response, though, here from the U.S.
And yes, and Megan Rapinoe serves such amazing balls in there. Outswinger, and Lindsey Horan rises high and above, just has to tap that way with her head. And Megan Rapinoe doing what she does so good, a little shake and bake, gets the cross off. Lindsey Horan does a great job going and like keeping this ball alive, and Alex Morgan again doing the same thing. An easy finish. Carly Lloyd, 100th goal. What a huge, huge accomplishment here today.
So Alex Morgan getting involved in the action there. She'd get a goal herself as well for a third in 2 games.
Absolutely, and Megan Rapinoe wide open in that left space pocket. Unselfish, finds Alex Morgan wide open, and all she has to do is slot that home.
I mean, 6 goals in the first 45 minutes of play. There is so much to try and talk about. What will Jill Ellis be looking to correct, though? Where have the issues been for the U.S. in that game?
We'll talk about a wild first half. I think, first of all, they need to set up or figure out their set pieces. Jane Campbell has to be more assertive, making sure her defenders are marked up. Those goals cannot be allowed, especially against a team like Mexico. And secondly, the quicker the ball moved for the U.S., changing the point allowed them to have more space, and that's when they really capitalize against Mexico.
Well, we've got another 45 minutes to go in this one. The U.S. taking on Mexico, looking to get invaluable reps ahead of World Cup qualifying. Stay with us for more.
He dove in a bit. I want to see that patience.
Certainly they are finding that space when Mexico presses in. But then it's about getting tempo created in the final third and not just being so direct.
Mallory Pugh, Tierna Davidson has played every minute so far for this U.S. team. Only player that can make that claim in 2018. Palacios had a tough touch, but she recovers it. Ocampo's open, left side, couple of cuts. Ocampo trying to play it across. Had Mexico executed better, they would have at least had a crack at goal. And now they're going to have a corner. Mexico is ready to make a change too. Monica Flores, who started the other night, is up by the 4th official. First this corner. Ocampo, that cultured left footer was blocked. She'll get it back. Nieto. Right side, no room there for Mayor. Mexico's head coach Medina was screaming for a foul. This ball out right in front of the 4th official. I thought we'd see the change now. Why not? Put the ball out. Referee said to wait, and now she is going to allow it. Espinoza out, Monica Flores in. Second change for Mexico.
Both players had their hands full with Pugh. Monica Flores struggled the other night. Espinoza, I don't know that she fared much better today.
Side flag was up. Medina has not been happy with a lot of things on that side. Mostly, I think, with the assistant referee. Pugh trying to tuck that one towards Morgan. It's cut off. Play back to Santiago.
I don't think he's been off base either. A lot of offside calls missed, it seemed like, from up here at least.
kick coming up here for Mexico in that last foul.
And if you're really squeezing the game the way Mexico is trying to, they're trying to step out high. You've got to have the referee be on it for the offside call. This is that last challenge that went in. And Carly Lloyd.
Driven in by Mexico, and that's going to be cleared. Headed forward, settled by Mayor. They needed that ball pushed wider. Dunn, broken up. Rapinoe recovers, takes off. Inside the circle, Rapinoe will find the open Crystal Dunn, moving it to the middle. Beating Corral, going wide right, handed away and out by Monica Flores.
Dunn filtered right back inside into the retreating defense of Mexico. The space was on the flanks. Sometimes the shape can get a little narrow.
Lloyd's touch on that right side. Ball kept in play by Q. Hansen. That's a bit unselfish from Allie Long. Dunn's pass toward Long, and that goes out. Thought Allie could have made a play on her own before giving that ball up. She's battling for time in a very crowded midfield that we talked about earlier in the first half.
Her move up to Seattle from Portland, though, will probably benefit her in terms of confidence and style of play.
She scored 6 goals for the USA, 5 of them on headers.
How about her partner in midfield with Haley Hansen? How poised has she been in her first cap already?
She's nervous. She's not letting us know. We asked Tierna Davidson about that yesterday too. Were you nervous in your first game? She said just a little, but she didn't really have time to think about it. Ball out for a throw-in.
One of those players that just looks so incredibly calm. She said, sometimes people think I'm more calm than I'm feeling inside. That's just her stoic nature and how she handles her emotions throughout a match. The ebbs and flows.
Crystal Dunn throw in. He's trying to find Rapinoe. Stephanie Mayor trying to pull it back. It's still going to be a Mexico throw in. Kenty Robles to take it. Off Mayor. And then handled there by Palacios. Palacios, one of the 6 different goal scorers on the night for these two sides. Mallory Pugh, another terrific spin move, and then the long ball towards Morgan. Almost headed right onto her path by Mexico. She was almost gifted a free run into the middle. Sauerbrunn. We've seen a few moments of magic tonight from Mallory Pugh, no surprise. Lloyd, it's turned over. Calderon, now on this left side, Ocampo. Brings it into the middle. He's trying to find Palacios. That toe poke ahead, driven in. Calderon had a good spot between the 2 center backs, but the ball wasn't delivered. Sent forward by Sierra, knotted down. U.S. should get to that first. Lost the second ball as Mexico recovers with Mayor. Taken away. Rapinoe trying to tuck that in for the timed run of Morgan.
Not a bad idea by Rapinoe, but there's been a spell of turnovers by both sides. That's a moment when you can just calm the game down, get some possession, and allow your shape to evolve. One of the things we haven't seen out of the U.S. in this game is just progressing into that final third with numbers.
Today's telecast from Houston, sponsored by AT&T. No goals this half, but we saw 6 in the first half as we're getting closer to the hour mark in Houston.
With the amount of work that Mexico put in against the U.S. defensively Thursday night and the amount they've done to this point in the match, you think the legs are going to start to fatigue and spaces are going to get even bigger for the U.S. to expose. The U.S. has just got to keep pinging the ball around and shifting them.
Davidson, Sauerbrunn. Touched back by Sonnet to the feet of Jane Campbell. She'll drive it long, collected by Mexico, and then given right back to Hansen. Sonnet off Pugh, throw in Mexico. Hansen pass ahead, cut off there. Pressure on the ball from Pugh as Mejia goes back to Santiago. Sauerbrunn. Lloyd joined us late. Career goal 100 for Carly Lloyd in the USA uniform. Tied for 5th now all-time with Tiffany Milburn. She's the 6th player to reach 100 international goals. Campo, Calderon. Mayor held up the run. Right side. Movement there from Robles. The cross. Brought down. And then lost by Mexico. Crystal Dunn finds Rapinoe. That one's blocked. Clipped by Robles. Mayor, 1 against 2 at the moment. Knocked out by Davidson. U.S. is getting ready to make 2 subs. 2 more players will get their first international caps. Tegan McGrady and Haley Mace. Here are the changes. The ovation for Mallory Pugh coming out.
Person on the field that's probably the happiest right now is Monica Flores with Pugh going off. Didn't matter who Mexico put out there, she was having a field day against them 1v1.
And Haley Mace has also come into the game. It's going to be a throw in here for Robles. Davidson has come out. The first minutes that Davidson has missed since 2018 began. Here is Mace for more on Mace. What a great story. Here's Jenny Taft.
Well, it is incredible because so often we hear about this, JP. Players want to play college. They believe they can play Division I. But for Haley Mace, she was more focused on playing with her friends and actually getting recruited her junior year. She had no offers from Division I schools until her family started sending out videos of her highlights, and guess who took notice? UCLA. So it turned out the coaches didn't know where she'd been hiding. It has been a perfect fit for her at UCLA, and she said she really wouldn't have it any other way. Maybe a bit slower to get in the mix, but she played multiple sports growing up. She said it's helped her stay well-rounded, and Jill Ellis has complimented her confidence, and just a big moment for her to be on the pitch tonight.
Thank you, Jenny, as we see Ocampo coming out for Maria Sanchez. Getting back, though, to Mace. She was brought in as a defender. When she started at UCLA, that's where she played. But Ali, they moved her up to forward, where she scored 15 goals last year. But she's still brought in here to play in the back. That's where they're giving her the opportunity.
Well, I think she should have a conversation with Crystal Dunn and ask her how to navigate that, because when you're as versatile as some of these players are, it can work to your benefit because you make rosters, but it can also work to your detriment because maybe you don't get to play your best position or what brings out the best out of you. But I've seen Haley Mace at UCLA, and she lights it up. She's an electric player. It'll be interesting to see how composed she can be in her first cap, along with Tegan McGrady out of Stanford. Jill Ellis a long time ago was talking about how she wanted left-sided players. Well, she got another one out of Tegan McGrady. Suddenly they're coming out of the woodwork.
Palacios plays it back. 3 different players get their first caps today in the same game in Houston.
Just when we thought the experimentation was over, she throws us a curveball. But I would say if you're coming into a match and it's 4-2 in this type of friendly, it's a good game to get your feet wet in.
The outcome is still in doubt. The game is still on the line when they brought those players in. So it's not, you know, at the end of the game where you're up by 4 or 5 goals and there's 10 minutes left. They're going to get an opportunity for some good minutes here against a team that's played well tonight, Mexico. They brought the best out of the U.S. McGrady. Sauerbrunn. Touch from Morgan. Take it away. We're seeing the dynamics change too for the U.S. with those substitutions because they were not necessarily like-for-like swaps. So Dunn is now up in more of a preferred spot, I would guess you'd say, right? Attacking player wide.
And on the right side.
Palacios. What a tackle that was from Sauerbrunn. She's still feeling that. Went in hard, won the ball. Broke up the challenge. Carly Lloyd. Just trying to find Ali Long. Nieto. Pushing it out wider. Sanchez. Slow down. It's Hansen. The average age of this team was just about 25 years of age. The 23 that Jill Ellis brought into this camp, that's about 4 or 5 years younger than they were at the World Cup, and a few years younger than the Olympics.
You'd have to say they had to go in that direction, bring in some youth.
Yeah, they were the oldest team at the Women's World Cup, almost 30 years of age average. Of course, a couple of players did bring that one up. These players that Jill Ellis has given first-time caps to, 18. That's a lot since the Olympics.
Welcome it with open arms to bring in new faces, fresh faces.
We're going to see that on the men's side too. Unfortunately, we keep saying this, they didn't qualify for the upcoming World Cup in Russia, but there will be changes. We've seen a lot of good young players coming through. Intended for Morgan, and Santiago wins that, but Rapinoe can chip. Flag stayed down. U.S. scores. 1 goal, 3 assists. Megan Rapinoe.
Not the best day for either goalkeeper to this point. Santiago's been all over the pitch. Here she comes out, and U.S. has been slipping in behind, so Santiago has to be off her line, but she can't get there quick enough, can't close it down, and then Rapinoe with the heads-up play. Initially the one to serve that ball in, follows up, recognizes Santiago's way off her line, and the deft touch over the top, dribbles that one in.
The 36th international goal, that's the first goal of this second half. 5-2 is your score now for the USA.
Production, production, production. 3 assists, 1 goal. The other night, another assist.
Fantastic athlete. She's 32 years of age, has overcome 3 ACL injuries to play, some would say, at her highest level a year ago.
And there was a moment when there were question marks of whether or not she could get back up to her peak performance level, and I think right now she is performing better than ever.
Mace gave that one away to Mayor. Stephanie Mayor thinking about getting closer, now slowed down. Robles tackled out by McGrady. McGrady's playing as the left back with Mace central. Over the head of Sonnet. Sanchez will let it go out for a Mexico corner. There's Sanchez from Santa Clara University. 3 collegiate players on the Mexican squad. Played it into the middle. Cleared away. Rapinoe just boots it out. So 7 goals in the game by 7 different players, including Carly Lloyd's 100th international goal. Mayor, who's now wearing the captain's armband, their most experienced player next to Ocampo, who was subbed out. Mace trying to communicate with Campbell. That was a tough ball she gave her. It was sliced out. Throw in Palacios, but first the sub, and there is going to be a goalkeeper change. Ashlyn Harris is going to get some minutes here, replacing Jane Campbell.
Tough night for Jane Campbell in her first start for the U.S. A couple bad decisions, but those are moments that will teach her going forward. And I think this goalkeeper position is going to be wide open again. It looked as though Ellis had settled in on Nair.
Harris was the goalkeeper of the year in 2016, then had some injury problems just when it was about the time for her to compete with Nair for that #1 spot. So unfortunately for Harris, it's never a good time to be injured, but it was an awful time for her to pick up some.
But there's still time before qualification, before the World Cup, and the door's been opened.
Sauerbrunn on the ball, pushing it wide right, Sonnet. Boyd was battling, it goes out, it's a USA throw-in. Jill Ellis went to the bench early and often tonight, partially due to injury. And other times to give experience to Mace, Hansen, and McGrady. Hansen came in because of the injury, but probably would have come in anyway. Rapinoe in, long of Santiago. The U.S. nearly had goal number 6.
This package deserved a bow on it with Rapinoe here. The selfless nature. Crystal Dunn does a nice job of holding off her player, but Rapinoe doesn't look. She knows Long was slipping in behind. Brilliant ball to lead Allie Long into that space. See there, doesn't even get her head up. She knows where Long is, crosses it across the path of the retreating defender.
Rapinoe sends it in, knocked in by Morgan. Second straight 2-goal game for number 13.
Something tells me both these squads are going to want to work on set-piece defense. Rapinoe again with the delivery. This time it goes near post, a big whiff on it at that edge of the 6. Santiago's just stymied there. And then no one marking Alex Morgan at that back post. These are basic responsibilities for players that are going to look to go into World Cup qualifying. Obviously you can't whiff on that ball, but you also have to mark up in the box.
So for Morgan now, that's her 12th goal in the last 13 games. Back-to-back 2-goal games versus Mexico. And now a wide open game has become wide open again, but mostly one-sided.
These 2-game sets are so challenging tactically for teams. The U.S. typically blows it open in the second.
It's blocked out of play. It's a throw-in for the USA. It was a somewhat quiet second half, but now it's opened up for the U.S. Morgan becomes the first to score a couple of goals in this game, and Mexico will make another change. 8 out, Calderon, 9 in, making her first appearance, Anissa Gajardo. Played 4 years at Pepperdine.
Go back to what Roberto Medina told us coming in tonight's match, that he wanted to keep the defense a lot tighter from Mexico. While conceding 6 goals, there's going to be a lot for them to talk about.
It's a 6-2 lead for the USA, 2 goals for Alex Morgan, career goal 100 for Carly Lloyd, and 4 assists for Megan Rapinoe. USA a record for most assists in a game. Tiffany Milbert had 5 in one game. Palacios blocked. flipped ahead. Dunn. Inside the circle, pushing it out. Left side, Tegan McGrady, Stanford University. Long, back to McGrady. Both Stanford and UCLA, who are represented here, produced several outstanding players, both to club teams and this U.S. national team. Easy play for Sonnet to bring it down. (6-2) USA lead over Mexico. Asarba plays it to the right. Probably see each other again in World Cup qualifying that starts in October here on Fox.
And that's one of the reasons this score line, as it evolves, is so important to the U.S., is to continue to lay that doubt down in Mexico's mind.
U.S. has friendlies coming up in the summer, then the Tournament of Nations against quality teams like Australia, Japan, and Brazil, and then World Cup qualifying. So look at their schedule coming up, some big games. Catch them on FS1. June 7th game against China. Santiago on that clearance.
Such a good idea by Lloyd there.
Hansen got clipped trying to win that ball back. Rolls out, throw in here for the U.S. Well, they've got a comfortable lead now. It was pretty tense when it was 2-1 down for the U.S. Things going their way since the end of that first half. Mayor. Nieto. On this right side, Gajardo. Putting it ahead. It was intended for Robles. That's McGrady. And that 1v1 battle goes out for a throw-in for Mexico.
And good recovery from her. She read that play well.
Gajardo, a couple of step overs. Lost it to Rapinoe. Lost it to Nieto. And that ball was given right back to the U.S. Off the head of Lloyd. He goes for Sonnet. 74th minute. Mexico's going to get ready to make another change if the referee allows it. She's looking that way, not signaled yet. Palacios is going to be the one coming out, and now she will. Renee Cuellar will come in. Big day, though, today for the U.S. and for Alex Morgan. For more on Alex, here's Jenny.
Jill Ellis spoke about Alex Morgan yesterday. She said the word she likes to use for her is hunger. She said, I don't know where it's coming from, but I'm liking what I'm seeing. And Morgan will tell you it's a combination of so many factors. Her time she spent overseas, her growth there, really just focusing on her game and taking it to the next level. She feels like she's continuing to push herself, and she doesn't think she's a finished product. And that's the best thing we're seeing from Alex Morgan right now.
Thank you, Jen. Morgan with a couple of goals tonight after a quiet first half where she wasn't really getting a supply of the ball. Has helped to make a difference here in the second half.
Sign of a good striker's ability to produce when you're not seeing the ball. It's a lot of moments throughout a match.
USA going to make their final change. Emily Sonnet will come out and Sofia Huerta will be coming in. First time she's played against Mexico. She used to play for Mexico with their under-20 side. As Huerta gets ready to come on, let's hear more about her from Jenny Taft.
Well, a special moment really for Sofia Huerta, who, as we know, has spent time also playing for the Mexican national team. And she said that before this match, she received text messages from some players who were excited to see her, who were excited that she was having this opportunity with the United States. And when she talks about her experience with both teams, she said, I would not be here with the U.S. if Mexico would not have supported me the way that they had. I have such pride and respect for them in a very important way, and they will always remain a big part of my life and my family.
Rapinoe played it in! Could have been the hat trick for Morgan and would have been the 5th assist for Rapinoe. A lot of couldas in there.
Those two are just finding a nice synergy together. It's almost the same deflection goal that Alex Morgan got on the set piece that was just coming off the middle of her body. Trying to make that near post run.
Right at the halfway line, the U.S. back on the ball with Rapinoe for Lloyd. Carly will hold it up. McGrady. It's going to go all the way back towards goal. Tonight, MLS Soccer Sunday on FS1. Zlatan is back, and the LA Galaxy will take on Sporting Kansas City, 9 Eastern FS1, or stream it live on Fox Sports Go. Wonder what Zlatan could do in his second game. The top what he did in the first. Morgan drops it. Lloyd. Rapinoe. Cutting it into the middle. Rapinoe looks. Trying to flick it forward. There's Morgan. Returning it. Rapinoe was in a good spot. It's still loose. Dunn took a swipe at it, then it's cleared away. For Gujardo, she lost it there. Ball sent ahead towards Sanchez, intercepted. 78th minute, all U.S. at the moment, a 6-2 lead. A couple of goals from Morgan. Hansen, Mace.
The pressure from Mexico is just getting later and later and later, and that's giving the U.S. more time on the ball.
Sauerbrunn. Wide open, great ball. Rapinoe's on it. Head up, cutting it back. Wide of Santiago. Rapinoe's finding everybody tonight. She could have 7 assists.
And her movement is so good just to slip in behind this back line. She ends up, drives end line, gets her head up, has 2 players to pick out, opts for Carly Lloyd, the better option as she's running onto it. And that's usually not a ball that Lloyd misses. Here's a great look at the slip ball in from Becky Sauerbrunn. Acres of space. And then Santiago stands tall, comes up big.
Mexico has just made another change. It's Vanessa Flores coming in as Rapinoe plays it out. That's the last sub. Floated up. Santiago grabbed it and held on.
Mexico continuing to play this high line, JP, is making me wonder, because the U.S. is just getting in behind time and time again. And now with the fatigued legs, as that sets in, do you change your tactics? Do you try to sit back deeper because you can't press the ball as high with the same pace?
Here's the speed of Dunn. Goalkeeper's out. Dunn pulls her out even farther, and then that ball went out of play as the U.S. looked for their 7th goal.
The reoccurring theme tonight has been the U.S. getting in behind this back line. Mexico with such a high line. 1-2 between Dunn and Morgan. And then that final touch just takes her away from goal. Too heavy ultimately to catch up to it. Dunn has the capability of finishing those, and if she wants to find herself up the field, the non-outside back, she's got to put that away.
Rapinoe's after it, but it was a bit too far away from her, and Santiago grabs onto it. 4 assists on the night for Megan Rapinoe. Long, Morgan, and Lloyd have all had chances to score off of balls played in by Rapinoe. But Santiago came up and made plays. Mexico on the ball. They were looking good with that 2-1 lead at the time, playing with some confidence. That confidence long since departed. Dunn's after it. It's going to be played back by Sierra to Santiago. Wholesale changes for both of these teams. You mentioned Vanessa Flores coming in as that last sub for Farrell. So the full complement of 6 subs used by both coaches. Santiago's on the ball. 81st minute. 6-2 U.S. over Mexico in this international friendly on the road to France. Back-to-back World Cups for Fox. The men in Russia in June. Next June, the women in France. Left sideline. The run being made and played, attempted to be played across. Lost out. Goal kick for Ashlyn Harris.
That's what this is all about, is the ability for these players to make the roster come World Cup qualifying. But I think Medina's got to take a look at his system and what he can employ with this group. Holding that high line, they lack some of the pace in the back line. It's caused them a lot of trouble tonight, or today. I keep thinking it's tonight because of the gray skies here.
I've said tonight so many times. It is today. Early kickoff, 12:30 local time for our pregame show. Around 1 o'clock was the kickoff locally. Harris up for Lloyd. Out for a Mexico throw-in in the 83rd minute. U.S. trying to close this one out with Morgan to Lloyd. Good touches there from Carley and Moore finding Rapinoe. Up Lloyd. She goes down, brought Cuellar down with her. A deflected ball almost found its way back to the U.S.
Since Huerta's come into the match, she's the one that is going to rotate higher, and McGrady's going to sit more in the back 3 when they build out.
Flores gives that ball away to Crystal Dunn. Trying to find Morgan with that run. Dunn's played in 2 positions today, actually. She started off the night as the left back, and now she's playing the right side up high, where Mallory Pugh was playing at the start of the game. Pugh scored the game's first goal in the 3rd minute. Had other moments of brilliance for this team. That foul means a free kick is coming up here for Mexico.
Huerta was just trying to body off the player.
Mexico's free kick from distance. Sanchez cleared up the middle by Morgan. Rapinoe got to it first. Now it's Hansen. Dunn lost it there. Mexico with it. Tackled away. Then recovered. Hansen. Mace. McGrady. The veteran Sauerbrunn. Finally, Mexico will get the ball back. Not for long. Hansen broke it up for Dunn. Long. Morgan. Got it to the right side. Pushed ahead. Morgan has help. Long for Lloyd. Almost brought that down. At the end line, Carly Lloyd will bring it back to McGrady. Up high from her left back spot. Showing some confidence there with that move. Knocked out, corner, U.S.
All the rookies out there, McGrady, Hansen, Mace, they've looked very confident on the ball when they've got it. I think that's the next evolution that we're seeing out of the next generation, if you will, of the players.
Brady sending it in. It'll bounce free out of the box. Lloyd trying to find Long. Lloyd again. Morgan looking. And it's tackled away from her as she was bidding for the hat trick. Ball is cleared ahead. Halfway line. Brought down. Long, hard run right in front of the Mexico bench. McGrady angled off Mayor. 86th minute, 6-2 USA lead. It was 4-2 at the half, then Rapinoe and Morgan each scored goals about 5 minutes apart. Goals kind of came in bunches today.
It happened in the first game as well.
Mayor. In the middle, pushed forward, that's blocked. Hansen again. Alley long. Huerta leaves it off. Sauerbrunn. Hansen. U.S. just content to keep possession. With a 6-2 lead, move the ball around, make Mexico chase. McGrady, Lloyd. Away from Rapinoe, but McGrady gets to it at the end line. Plays it back to Rapinoe. Lloyd was making that run to the end line, but the ball was, that's one of the few balls that Rapinoe overhit today, right? I mean, she's been brilliant on the ball all night, all day.
You're right.
All day.
All day,
JP. All day.
She has been almost flawless. Better patience, though, in that last attack from the U.S. And you can just see Mexico look so exhausted, even though they've made a lot of changes. Pressure nowhere in sight. This is one of the things U.S. talked about, was sitting off of Mexico so they could find that space in behind, make them come into their offensive shape so you can hit quickly.
Ball was lost off by Gajardo. Plays now in Sweden. Sauerbrunn to Mace. Andy Mace was an injury replacement for Casey Short. U.S. have 6 players out with injury issues.
And let's hope the 2 in Horan and Bryan aren't added to that list. Mayor, much better performance tonight, her involvement in the game. This is one of the first times that Mexico's actually sat back behind the halfway line and where their first line of pressure is initiated.
Hansen on the ball. Pushed out wide, McGrady. Lloyd. And that cutting move, that ball's going to go out of play. Morgan says it was deflected. Referee says it wasn't. Referee wins that decision. In the 89th minute, Morgan putting pressure on Santiago. Well, Morgan's pressure forced that giveaway. Rapinoe, Long, trying to slot it through for Dunn. Long gets another go. The shot over Santiago. Goal kick for Mexico. Huge night tonight for Megan Rapinoe with a goal and 4 assists, and could have had more.
I just cannot believe the form that this woman is in. Started off early in the match. She's the one that finds Pugh cutting in behind that back line, slicing across the back line, perfectly weighted ball. And then her set piece delivery, one of the best in the world, if not the best. Execution there, unselfishness on that third one. And then here, the awareness to pick her head up and just chip that one in over behind. Another set piece, perhaps a little lucky there, but regardless, the delivery is on point.
Terrific day for Rapinoe. 90th minute, 6-2 USA. Still seem hungry for more. Dunn. Turning it upfield with that speed. Pushing it. And had that been a little closer to Rapinoe, Santiago is way out of goal. Could have been another opportunity for Megan. 2 minutes, minimum of 2, added on here in stoppage time. Sanchez spinning for Mexico, finding Cuellar, who lost it there to Mace. Back to Harris. Megan Rapinoe in the USA dominating right now as Mejia plays it back to Santiago. All of these players go back to their NWSL teams after this game. NWSL idle this weekend, respecting the international calendar.
As it should be. Getting these women on the international schedule is a major improvement and step for the game.
Lloyd was looking for Rapinoe, that time not on the same page, although they have worked together so well today. Back to the feet of Santiago. The fans in Houston have been treated to a lot of things today. A lot of offense. The 100th goal from Carly Lloyd. 2 goals from Morgan. The goal and 4 assists from Rapinoe. Big numbers today here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Ball played through. Morgan for the hat trick with a keeper out. Try to chip her, not quite high enough. That would have ended the night or the day for her on an exclamation point. Same with the USA. Long on the ball. That might have been the last opportunity for a goal.
Never say never in this matchup.
No. Foul, free kick here for the U.S. This could be it, as Rapinoe played it forward. The referee has blown the whistle. That'll do it. 6-2. The USA wins over Mexico. 1 goal, 4 assists for Megan Rapinoe. Carly Lloyd's 100th international goal, and another 2-goal performance out of Alex Morgan.
Offensive dominance from the U.S. I mean, that trident up top is nearly unstoppable. A lot of exciting things going forward for the U.S. and definitely some things to clean up defensively. Set pieces, yes, but also they gave Mexico a lot of looks to get in behind.
Well, we had Alex Morgan on at the top of the show with Kaden Leslie. At the end of the show, we'll have Carly Lloyd to come back with us. I'm sure she's going to talk about this. Goal number 100 on her brilliant international career.
This next song is all about my $20 fill-up. 8 pieces of Kentucky Fried Chicken, all the fixings, and it'll feed your family of 4. Hit it, boys. A 1 and a 2, and we're out of time. It's finger licking good. Woo!
Welcome back to Houston, Texas, and the BBVA Compass Stadium. The U.S. adding to the 4-1 win in Jacksonville, Florida 3 days ago with another resounding win. 6-2 the score today in Houston. Megan Rapinoe, one of the stars, but Carly Lloyd also with one of the U.S.'s 6 goals today. We are over the moon to have you here with us. Thanks very much for taking the time. We're going to take a look back at the game and have a look back at all those goals. If you just go through that with us, what you're seeing here. You're very popular in this corner, by the way. They seem to like you. And it made a strong start, Leslie.
Yeah, and Mallory Pugh, Megan Rapinoe finds Mallory Pugh running behind the back line. Mallory Pugh, so good 1v1, recognizes Santiago coming out. Easy move past her and just slides it through.
There were a couple of wobbles, though.
Well, yeah, and this, Jane Campbell's backing up into goal. Ocampo, in-swinger goal for Mexico, makes it look super easy, not good enough on our end. And then the same thing happens. The U.S. doesn't respond well, and this time it's Palacios. And Megan Rapinoe, her outswinger, Lindsey Horan, rises high and above, just gets her head on it.
Yeah, it was a quick response from the U.S. Just talk us through your goal as well, Carly.
Well, I mean, obviously, Megan Rapinoe put in a good ball. Lindsey, played it. Alex played it, and then I was there to kind of get the 1-yard header off the line. But, if I couldn't get the goal in New Jersey, getting it in Houston was pretty special.
Well, Megan Rapinoe and Alex Morgan were active all night. Megan Rapinoe finds herself wide open on that outspace, and what an unselfish pass. Finds Morgan. All she has to do is slip that in.
And Rapinoe with a beautiful shot from distance here in this goal as well, Carly.
Yeah, this one was a nice one. Good read on her. Good lefty finesse in there. Great goals overall.
Absolutely. Alex Morgan with her 4th in 2 games as well.
Well, Megan Rapinoe, her balls are so dangerous. Finds a wide open Alex Morgan that just has to slip that in.
It is a big score line. At 6-2, the final score, then you scored a goal, which meant that you scored your 100th goal for the US women's national team. It's an incredible mark to hit. There are very few other players to have done that. You're one of 6 players who have done that. Just does hitting that mark make you now reflect on your journey to get to that point, and what does it make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a great milestone, but I've got, you know, a lot of things that I still want to accomplish left in my career, and you know, to look back on where I started in 2005 to kind of the player I've become, and you know, you don't very often get to kind of sit back and reflect because you're always waiting for that next big thing. So it's pretty cool, it's an honor, but as people know me, I'm moving on to the next.
Jill Ellis has brought in some new and young, fresh faces, giving some debuts tonight. Did you have any words of wisdom for them, and do you remember your first debut?
My first debut, I was incredibly nervous. I was almost like out of breath when I went onto the pitch. And I know for some of these players, they played in Youth World Cups and they've had that experience, which is great and fantastic. So it's just about kind of making them feel comfortable, encouraging them to try. If they make a mistake, it doesn't matter. So I thought, you know, some great substitutions that came on. Some of the young players, they did well, and it was great to get their first cap.
Yeah. Speaking of veterans, you, Morgan, Rapinoe, you guys are playing so well, especially Megan Rapinoe tonight, 4 assists. Can you talk about what's impressed you most about her play?
Well, I think, you know, I've enjoyed playing with Megan. She's a phenomenal player. She's a competitor. She's a finesse player. She's someone who you want on your team. And, you know, just to see her kind of go through the journey that she's had. Obviously, in the Olympics, you know, her knee, hurting her knee, and then just kind of coming back from that. I think it says a lot about her. She's on a great run. She's doing well, and I hope she can kind of keep her form.
Yeah, us too.
Well, it was a great game. Congratulations. Good result. Congratulations on your 100-goal mark as well. Thank you for joining us. Fantastic to see you. The US women's national team really hitting good form now with the World Cup qualifying on the horizon in October. Mexico unable to provide any real challenge to the reigning world champions. The US absolutely superior. From all our crew here at Fox, thank you for the company and see you soon.